indoctrinated, and that's fine. And this is fun, and you guys made a cottage industry out of it, and this is your whole identity is about this. But I live in a great country, and I love my country, and you guys are making it suck, but I'm here to make it better, and there you go. So I don't know what to say, but keep spinning your wheels in the mud and keep trying to find that phantom and that big boogeyman of the FBI, because I don't live in that world. I live in America, and I love my country, and I'm a patriot, and that's all there is to it. So.
Well, so do you support the bombing? You support the bombing with drones? You support that and the killing of little children across the world? Black
skies with drones. You're damn right I do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, I do. And I'm all about whacking evildoers and
whacking evildoers. Even if we create them, even if we give them the money, even if we fund them.
You know what, you guys?
It's all fake, brother. The whole world you're told about is a total dream.
When are you gonna like?
I think you're the one living in the dream world.
I'm not living in a dream world. My eyes are wide awake, and there's nothing you can say. No, I'm used to this
and you
stuff.
like having troops on the streets. That makes you feel safe, doesn't it?
What makes me feel safe?
Having troops on the streets. When
there's an armed like terrorist through my neighborhood, you're right. It does. Who else I want? You morons with your guns.
An unarmed 19-year-old.
I want whatever, dude. Unarmed.
And now there's tape of him coming out.
Just so you know, I talk to people that live there who are watching out their windows, and they're not like part of. These are like family members. There's an old couple that live there, and they came home for vacation, and then they're looking at the guys, both of them shooting at the cops. Like, so don't tell me like, oh, he's unarmed. He had something. He was armed with something when he went out when he was shooting at the cops. He wasn't using his finger. So don't give me this crap and like and make things up and like change.
I'm not making anything up. They found him unarmed. And at first they reported he had an M4 in the boat with him, and then when they found him, he didn't have a gun.
Oh, well, whatever. I don't know.
And then they cut his throat up so he can't talk.
Apprehending the suspect. I was not privy, but I do know that I live 2 doors away from that house where the boat was. So I know exactly that, that neighborhood. And it's just, I don't know. I know a lot more about this than you might think I do. But whatever. I know like the real stuff that you've already refuted is you say it's conspiracy. It's not true. But, you know, that's fine. But the thing is that the problem that I have with Infowars, and Dan, as I said, is a sweet guy. He just doesn't have a mental defense against the allure of having the power of influence over people, and a bunch of people patting him on the back saying, you're doing a great job, by asking stupid questions to the governor of Massachusetts. And it's just hijacking a press conference the way these sons of did back in for like a Boston nonstop flight from Boston to LA back in 2001. That's how you guys. You're just whatever. You guys are having fun. Probably a lot of you are into malicious stuff. You're all into this gunplay. I get it. You guys are real you're real he-men and all that, and you guys know what's really going on. But none of you are bright. The only one who's smart is Alex. He's probably the smartest one because he's the most charismatic. But he's also nuts. He's untreated. He's got untreated schizophrenia. So, I mean, he's got to get that. He's got to get on top of that.
Well, let's hope they don't put you in charge of who's crazy and who isn't in this world.
Listen,
or who gets to own guns in this world.
I know who's crazy. I'm plenty exposed to crazy people. Don't worry about that.
All right. Well, that was Roger Nicholson. And you can chat with him on Facebook at PitPat71. That was very interesting. He's got a lot of anger. He's mad, which rightfully so. I'd be mad too if people, especially if the FBI, and we're gonna find out who is behind this, and we're gonna put it out there, whether people like Roger like it or not, and we're gonna ask questions to our government officials, our public servants, whether he likes it or not. And we're gonna keep doing it. We're not gonna stop. And these questions need to be asked. Notice how they stopped the press conferences really quick when Dan started asking questions about prior knowledge and other photos and false flags. They didn't want to talk about that stuff. They didn't want to talk about drills being done beforehand. They didn't want to talk about any of that. They wanted to run. As soon as those questions were asked, they only want to go by the script. I want to end quickly with a video from, I think this is from Robert Gibbs, who's was a press secretary for Obama, and he was told not to talk about the drone program. That just shows this is what our government likes to do. They like to say, don't talk about this. This is off the table. And here's that clip.
When I went through the process of becoming press secretary, one of the first things they told me was, you're not even to acknowledge the drone program. You're not even to discuss that it exists. Wow. And so I would get a question like that, and literally I couldn't tell you what Major asked, because once I figured out it was about the drone program, I realized I'm not supposed to talk about it. But here's what's inherently crazy about that proposition. You're being asked a question based on reporting of a program that exists.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
You're the official government spokesperson.
Exactly. So, as if, you know, we're not supposed to ask questions because we're crazy and we like guns. That's basically what we got from Roger Nicholson. And, you know, I didn't even bring up one Infowars article. I have one here, but it links to other things. Tamerlan Zarnoff attended CIA-sponsored workshop. It's from Kurt Nemo. It links to Izvetsia. Tamerlan Zarneva recruited via the Georgian Foundation. But let's look at all the rest of these. Boston Bomb Marathon, Tamerlan Zarnoff interviewed by FBI in 2011. Senator Chambliss, the intelligence may have known about the bombings in advance. Bomb informers tape. This is about World Trade Center 7, but this is a good one. Bomb informers tapes give rare glimpse of FBI dealings. Yeah, we like to cook bombs and train the drivers and give them the van and get them in there. Here's another one. We linked to this, but you can no longer find it on Online Journal. Why the FBI got away with the first World Trade Center bombing. There's the Huffington Post article. Washington Post, anti-terror task force was warned of Tamerlan Zarnoff's long trip to Russia. Total conspiracy theory. New York Times, terrorist plots hatched by the FBI, talks about all the fake bombings that were brought on by informants. Russia warned FBI about bomber multiple times. But the feds are more interested in al-Qaeda than Chechens. And let's see if we got anything else. I think that's it. So that's what I brought to the table. He didn't really want to bring anything to the table. He just wanted to call us crazy, which is, you know, that's what they're doing right now. He is a product of his media. He was very happy that he was on MSNBC because that's who he looks up to. He looks up to GE, the company that brings big bombs to life and drones to life and then uses them to bomb other countries, yet over lies. You know, you can go back to the Iraq War. Lie. 9/11. Well, if you believe in the official story, they were all from Saudi Arabia, or at least most of them were. Yeah, just read the comic book that they put out. So there you go. I encourage you. Send, what was his name, Richard? Roger Nicholson. Send Roger Nicholson some love via Facebook. Send him some knowledge. Don't be mean to him. He obviously needs to be educated a little bit, although he thinks he's found the truth and he knows exactly what it is. And he seems to like troops on the streets. And even though he was running around busting, I think they said secure in home is what they called it. And that was the order they put up. They wanted people to stay in their homes and not go out and then let cops come in there and pull people out.
We're asking people to shelter in place, in other words, to stay indoors with their doors locked and not to open the door for anyone other than a properly identified law enforcement officer, and that applies here in Watertown, where we are right now, also Cambridge, Waltham, Newton, Belmont, and at this point, all of Boston. All of Boston.
Shelter in place is what they called it. Shelter in place. Did we roll any of the footage of the cops, like, knocking people over and making them stick their hands up? Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That was our interview, and that's our show. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. It's the Infowars Nightly News. I'm your host, Rob Dew. It's been quite a pleasure talking to the interesting people out there that think we're all crazy, and yet they're all sane, and they don't want to believe stuff when it's right in front of their eyes. Thank you and good night.